Alright, so today's lesson is lesson 82. We're going to be determining the focus and directrix of parabolas. So this is for every kind of parabola. So if they're up or down or right or left, they always have what's called a focus point and a directrix. Okay, the focus is a point and the directrix is a line. So we're going to be talking about how to find those today. Okay, so here are the steps. First thing you're going to want to do is make sure the equation is in vertex form, right? So there's either x equals or y equals, okay? And then a times the parentheses with the other variable squared. You want to identify what a is, and then you'll solve for c in this equation, okay? This is the main thing that's going to tell us where our focus point is and where the directrix is. So we're going to go c units from the vertex, and it'll be inside the parabola. So if it's facing up, we'll go from the vertex up to find the focus. We're going to go up c units, and that's the focus point. And the directrix is on the opposite side. So if we had to go up c units to the focus, we go down c units to the directrix. Okay, and that's going to be a line. So number one, first of all, what's the vertex here for number one? Negative 4, 5. Good. Is this facing up, down, right, or left? Up. Good. So what does A equal? 1/3. Okay, and I'm not going to take the time to do a table because you guys have already done this, so I'll just kind of graph this quickly. Negative 4, 5 is the vertex. If I go right or left 1, I'm going to go up 1/3. If I go right or left 2, I'll go up 4/3. So these are my 5 points. This is what the curve would look like. Okay, my focus is going to be somewhere inside the parabola, somewhere here. I don't know where, but somewhere up here. And then the directrix will be somewhere below, some sort of a line down there. Okay, so first I need to find C. I know C is equal to 1/4A, and I know that A is 1/3. So I'm going to plug in 1/3 for A. Multiplying, I get 1/4. Dividing by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So this is 1 times 3/4, which is just 3/4. Okay, so with step number 4 now, from the focus, I'm going to go C units inside the parabola. So I'll go 3/4 of a unit inside the parabola. So this is about that point there. And then for the directrix, I go the opposite way, and I make a line C units down. So 3/4 unit of a unit down, I'm going to make a line here. Oh, and the point, the ordered pair for my focus is going to be -4, and then this point here, the vertex was 5, and I went up another 3/4, so it's -4, 5 3/4. Okay, so that's my point here. And then, like I was saying, the directrix is 3/4 of a unit below. So this line right here would have the equation y equals 4 1/4. Okay, if you forget which one for the horizontal and vertical lines, horizontal lines have the equation y equals, and with these you can remember if the parabola is y equals, the directrix is y equals. Okay, and then the same, if it's x equals, we're going to have x equals as the directrix line. Okay, and then also the y is what changes for the ordered pair. If you look at the vertex and the focus, the y is what's changing. Okay, take a second and write down number 1. Are there any questions on number 1? Okay, for number 2, what's my vertex here?
-2 and 2.
2, -2. Okay, remember the x part is afterwards in this kind because it's x equals. So this is 2. 2, -2, and what does A equal? -1/4. Okay, so I'm going to solve for C now. So I have, here's the graph. So the vertex is 2, -2. the vertex is 2, -2. If I go up or down 1, I know this is going to the left. Okay, so I go up or down 1, I go to the left 1/4. If I go up or down 2, I go to the left 1 unit. And then I can sketch my parabola. Okay, when I'm solving for C, I have C equals 1/4A. A here is -1/4, so I'm plugging that in. 4 times -1/4 is -1. So I just get C equals -1. Okay, so I'm going to go in the parabola 1 unit, so it's to the left 1 unit from the vertex. Okay, so that's going to be my focus point. And then I go the opposite direction for my directrix. So from the vertex, I'll go 1 unit this way, 1 unit to the right, and make my line there. Okay? Do you see how it's the same? It's just rotated? Yeah, the parabola, I'm going kind of quickly through the graphing that because we talked about that the past 2 days. Yeah, so yeah, you would use that little shortcut table for that.
And then for the focus point, which one?
For the focus, so C is -1, so from the vertex I go -1 unit. So from the vertex, -1 is like 1 to the left. And then I go the opposite of this for the directrix. So I go +1, this is the directrix. Okay, so what would the coordinates of the focus be here?
How do you find?
What's the focus? 1, -2. And then the directrix, what's the equation of this line?
X equals, or Y equals 3?
You were right the first time. X equals 3. And remember I said to check yourself like on homework tonight?
Sorry.
1 second. To check yourself on homework tonight, the line should always have the same variable as your parabola. So like that's equal to. So if X equals, so it's a sideways parabola, your directrix will be X equals. Yeah, question. Oh, you were in here Monday. You got to watch that. Okay, guys, how do we know if it's sideways or up or down?
If the X and the Y.
If it's X or Y, right? So if it's X equals, like number 2, see how it's X equals? Then it's sideways. And then negative is left, positive is right. If it's Y equals, then positive is up, negative is down. Okay? All right, questions? Any other questions on number 2? Oh, someone asked how to find C. Remember, C is from our steps. We find it using this equation, C equals 1/4A. And then we just plug in A. A, remember, is the number in front of the parentheses. Okay, so we just plug that in. We have to do some arithmetic here. Okay, question? Okay, guys, up here. For the ordered pair for the focus, I start with the vertex, which is 2, -2. And I'm going in 1 unit, so I go to the left 1. So this is the point 1, -2. So I can look at it from my graph, or I could look at just the points. So my vertex is, guys, up here, please. I could look at the point. So this is 2, -2. Okay, since it's a x parabola, the x is going to be what changes. So I leave the -2, and the 2, I add C to it. So 2 plus -1 gives me 1. So I could do it just by using the points. But the graph helps to give you more of a visual. Yes?
Oh, can I go maybe?
1 second. All right, number 3. Can you guys tell me what the vertex of number 3 is? What's the vertex here? Okay, and A is 2. 1, -2. Good. Okay, and C equals 1/4A. So in your notebooks now, I want you to find C. Okay, find C. Give it a few seconds here. Okay, good. C is 1/8. So if I plug in A, I get 1/4 times 2, which is just 1/8. Okay, using the vertex, I can graph. I start with the vertex 1, -2. If I go right or left 1, I go up 2. Right or left 2, I'm going to go up 8. That would be the numbers you find if you do your table. Okay, I'm just doing that quickly again because that's Monday's lesson. So this is your parabola. The focus point, I go in the parabola 1/8 of a unit. So I'm just barely above the vertex. Just barely. So that's my focus point. And then what would the coordinates of that be? What's the x? 1. Okay, and then what's the y coordinate? What is it? -1 and 7/8. I just went up 1/8. Okay, so on a number line, if you walk down the negative, -1, -2, then I go back positive 1/8, I'm at -1 and 7/8. Right? Okay. That was mine. Okay. -1 and 7/8. And then the directrix is going 1/8 of a unit the other way. So that's going to be a line somewhere here. Okay, it would be a lot closer, but my vertex is a little big. So it's just 1/8 of a unit down. So what would that line be? Is it y equals or x equals?
X equals y equals.
Y equals. And what does it equal?
-2
-2 and
and 1/8.
1/8. Okay, the other way to tell that it's y equals is that all the y values stay the same on this line. X changes though, right? Like this point is 2, -2 and 1/8, 4, -2 and 1/8, right? X values change, but y is always staying the same in a horizontal line, okay? So it's y equals. Go ahead and write that one down if you didn't get it already. The vertex here for number 4 should be 4, 1. Good. The x part is first. It's on the outside because this is a major x parabola or a sideways parabola. So 4, 1. What's a equal? 1/3. Good. And what's c equal? Whoa. Sorry. Okay. Okay, c equals 1/4a. Shh. 1/4a, so 4 times 1/3 is our denominator. So what do we get for c here? What is it?
1/3 was
3/4. So it's 1/4, which we make multiplication. So 1 times 3/4, and that's 3/4. Okay, so c is 3/4. So from the vertex at 4, 1, I would go into the parabola 3/4 and then outside. So let's try to graph this. So my vertex is 4, 1. That's this point here. Okay, which way is this parabola facing? Right. So if I go up or down 1 unit, I go to the right 1/3. If I go up or down 2, I go to the right 4/3. Oh, you know what? I connect these for my parabola. Then I go c units inside from the vertex. So about this point here is 3/4 of a unit inside the parabola. And then I go 3/4 in the other direction. That's about here for my directrix. Okay? So what are the coordinates of my focus? What's that point there? 4 and 3/4, comma 1, right? Do you see I added the 3/4 to 4? Right? Compare the focus to the vertex. Do you see how x is changing here because it's x equals? Okay? And then what about the directrix? 3 and 1/4. And is it x equals or y equals? X equals. Good. 3 and 1/4 here. Okay, for number 5, I want to show you guys how we can do this without graphing. So here's number 5. What's the vertex here for number 5? -3, 6. Okay, the x is in parentheses, so that's our x coordinate there. And then 6 is the y coordinate. Negative 3, 6. What's A equal?
Negative 1/3.
Negative 1/3. Good. So, we could do this just by adding and subtracting to the vertex. We don't directly. We don't need to graph. It just gives us more of a visual. So if I take, if I find C, so C equals 1 over 4A. Plugging in A, what do I get for C then? 4 times negative 1/3 is negative 4/3. So I have 1 over negative 4/3. So I multiply that by the reciprocal. So I have negative 3/4. Okay, so what I can do is just add this directly. If I add it to the vertex, I get the focus. If I subtract it, I get the directrix. So adding negative 3/4. Well, but I need to be careful. So which one is going to change here, x or y? The y, right? It's y equals, so y is changing, okay? So it'll be negative 3 still. And then instead of 6, I'm going to do what's 6 plus negative 3/4. So I have positive 6. It's really like subtracting 3/4, right? So 5 and 1/4. Okay, and then for the directrix, I do the opposite. I subtract. But if I'm subtracting a negative, I'm really adding, right? So what's 6 plus 3/4? 6 and 3/4, and this is y equals because it's a y equals parabola. So those would be that's my focus and directrix here. Okay, if I just kind of sketch the graph, I can see, I know it's a downward facing parabola because it's negative. So the focus is going to be inside, the directrix will be on top, and then I know this point is 6. So it makes sense for the directrix to be 6 and 3/4, and then for the focus to have a y coordinate of 5 and 1/4. Okay. Okay. Okay, so then we talked about what we learned today, how we do that, and how it fits in with the other lessons from this week, mainly because the other lessons dealt with parabolas. And we have a focus and a directrix for every parabola. So that's it for today's lesson. Thank you, and I will see you tomorrow.